Welcome to the Cinematic Flashback Podcast. Get ready to hop into the Wayback Machine as we journey through the wild, bold, and unforgettable films of the 1970s. Each episode, we break down a classic movie or forgotten gem by exploring the who's who of each film, diving into the premise and plot, seeing how it performed then and now, and wrapping things up with, did it groove through the decades or lose its beat? As you may know, 2025 marks the 50th summer with the blockbuster Jaws, and we are going to need a bigger boat for all of our guest hosts joining us this week to talk about the film. Joining me from the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast is Dee Graves and Jason Colvin, and from a Film By podcast is Jeff Johnson and David Burns. And alongside me, as always, is my co-host, Matt Sargent. Hey, Dee and Jason, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast.
Well, we have for the last 6 years been pitting Jason's terrible picks against my amazing picks. What we do is we take an awesome pair of movies or albums or something similar, and we deep dive into them, geek out like buddies do. And then at the end, we'd say which one's the best. And Jason will tell you the wrong thing and I'll tell you the right thing. And then you can sleep well at night knowing that there's somebody out there making the right choice for everybody involved. And occasionally we do some top 5 episodes where he picks his own top 5 of, say, the music of 85 or 75, which we've got coming out next week, right?
3 weeks.
Well, by the time this comes out, I mean.
Maybe next week.
All right, then. Trying to keep the chronological sound bites where they need to be. But we're going to be doing the top 5 songs of 1975. I will have my 5 pick. He will have his 5 pick. And I'm telling you now, I got the right number 1 at least. I don't know about everything else, but I got the right number 1.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Jeff, I have to apologize because I realized after we had recorded Westworld, I totally forgot to ask you about a Film By and Phaser Set to Stun.
You just left all those listeners in the dark. Like, who is this guy?
Unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you, we also are 6 seasons deep now. We're in our 6th year. Over on a Film By podcast, we like to talk about some of our favorite directors, the biggest directors in Hollywood, but particularly their underrated films. So kind of gives us a little bit of a challenge sometimes, but we make up for that. We've had several very fun limited series. We covered practically every film from 1986. We've looked at 76, and we started another little side project that kind of got a little out of control, but I'll let Dave talk about that one.
Phaser Set to Stun. It's all about Star Trek because everything comes back to Star Trek. Everything.
It's awesome.
And thank you for that. But yes, no, we talk about the movies, anything you can think about Star Trek, toys, merchandise, books, documentaries, the TV shows, movies, everything you can think about. We dive in and talk about it. We're in the middle of Strange New Worlds right now, and we break it down week after week, each episode, just celebrating that wonderful world that we've had for so long. We see the listeners are really piling up for us, and it's fantastic to see because there is a lot of love out there for Star Trek.
You guys know more about Star Trek than I've forgotten. The personal thing that I love about the show is how you have the bridge sounds playing the entire time.
That's the editing nerd in me. It's the little things sometimes that for us make a show. I had the biggest grin on my face when I was listening to the Taking a Pelham 123 episode because you had us on the subway. And I was like, wait, did I hear that? I am hearing that. Hats off to you guys because I love what you guys are doing too.
You're the first person to comment on that one. That was a tip of the hat to you guys.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Jason, we like to call those the Brian Johnson Breakfast Club punch on the shoulder pride moments. Where you're just like, yes.
When we started Cinematic Flashback, I was originally not going to lean on the big movies of the 70s, like The Godfather, Jaws, Star Wars, because there are just so many great films celebrating their golden anniversary this year. And Jaws is just too monumental of a film to let it just swim by. But both Shirley and the Film By have covered this film previously, and I don't think there's much more that we could do to possibly add to that. So in this episode, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with this. So David, do you want to take over?
Yes, sir. Welcome to You're Gonna Need a Bigger Line. The game where the shark barely worked, the plot mostly floats, and the points matter as much as a safety warning from Mayor Vaughn. Tonight, our players will brave cinematic waters for more dangerous than a 4th of July swim at Amity Beach. They'll defend the indefensible, recast the unreplaceable, and try to sell us on a shark that delivers monologues. We've got personal memories, courtroom dramas, Broadway numbers, Muppet chaos, buddy cop explosions, and yes, even a tourism slogan for town still rinsing off the chum. The answers can be sincere, smart, deranged, or all three. There's only one rule. Don't get eaten trying to sound clever. So tighten your wetsuits, load your harpoon of hot takes, and for the love of Bruce, stay out of the water. It's not about who wins, it's about who survives the bet. Okay, gentlemen, and I do use that term loosely. Before the barrels, before the blood, before the da-dum, we all had that first time, that first encounter with Spielberg's salty masterpiece. Whether it was in a theater, on VHS, or hiding behind a couch cushion while the adults watched it. In this round, we're diving into the personal side of the shark attack. Tell us about when you first saw Jaws, and what detail in the film do you notice now that you didn't as a kid? Jason, I'll let you lead us off.
All right. Well, I know exactly the day that I saw Jaws. I saw it on November 4th, 1979. And I'll tell you the way I know that is because that was the first time that it was shown as an ABC Sunday night movie. I didn't see it in the theater. Obviously, I was too little and too scared, frankly. But nothing could keep me away from the television when my uncle was watching it. My parents tried to dissuade me from going and watching it, but I just could not pull my eyes off of it. I wasn't going to be denied. So 100% ABC Sunday night movie, 1979.
Nice. D, what about you?
So this movie came out about 3 months before I was born. It's kind of like James Bond. It's just like always been a part of my childhood. My dad was a big Jaws fan, big shark fan. I can't tell you how many different shark documentaries and all of these other things that I've watched growing up over the years with my dad. And so I couldn't tell you the exact date. I can tell you that when I did see it, he didn't get the word bitch out because it was almost certainly probably that same showing in 1979 that it was muffled by the explosion for TV. I can remember when I watched the full-fledged version for the first time and thinking to myself, how is this rated PG? But that was a 1975 PG. And, you know, the year before, the #1 movie in June was Deep Throat. Is that right? Is that right? So it's a different time. It's a different era.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes. The 70s, glorious time. That's for sure. All right, Jeff, what was your first time experience?
For me to tell the story, I got to shout out my Aunt Mary. And back at that time, she worked for Kenner Toys. So everyone
Nice.
here and a lot of these listeners,
Wow.
I'm sure that grew up playing with Star Wars toys have her to thank. But I also have her to thank because at this time when she was young and cool, she'd take us to the pool all summer long. But one particular weekend when I believe I was either 5 or 6, we spent the night at her place because she was taking us swimming at East Fork Lake, which David knows is a big lake. And this was a big deal for me because I had never been swimming anywhere but a swimming pool. Now, I'd like to tell you that my first trip to East Fork Lake was a fun-filled day in the water, but I can't because it was a terrifying experience, and that was because the night before, she showed us Jaws on Betamax.
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 Wow.
She was
Superior format.
That's right.
Yes. Like 1981, superior format, Betamax, yeah.
Slightly
And
less
it
grainy.
terrified me. I wasn't going near open water after watching that movie. No
Yeah.
chance.
A lot of people didn't because of watching that film. So, good one. Matt, what about you?
So I was actually 13 years old when this movie came out, and I saw it probably, I think it was the week after July 4th, and I went with a bunch of friends because everybody said, you got to see this, and no one would tell you any of the jump scares or anything like that. I spent every summer growing up going to Cape Cod, which is near where this was filmed. It was filmed on Martha's Vineyard. And so the environment that was filmed in was extremely familiar to me. The beach is just like that for the film. So it hit pretty hard. And so I was 13, scared the heck out of me. Didn't stop me from going in the water. But I will say, I think you mentioned something you know now, or you see now, that really kind of you didn't really notice then. And that's the fact that Quint is quite clearly a British citizen. What was he doing on the Indianapolis? I'm sorry. He was a British seaman, not an American seaman. So it's like, yeah, that doesn't compute.
Last but not least, Chuck.
Yeah, so I was all of 7 years old when this film came out. And so I remember all the neighborhood kids were reading the book, right? So it was a paperback book. It had, the poster from the movie because it was already tied in with the movie at the time. And I was asking my mom, hey, can I go see Jaws? Can I go see Jaws? And it's like, no, you're not going to go see Jaws. But here was the loophole. She would let me read the paperback book. By the time it aired on HBO, so she let me watch it on HBO, but I obviously had to close my eyes at certain points. And I did not go back in the water for a very, very long time. And even till this day, if I go out into the ocean, it crosses my mind a little bit.
As it should.
You mentioned something. I just want to touch on this. This movie may have the single greatest movie poster of all time.
Agreed.
Oh,
Agreed. Yeah.
The shark coming up from the depths as the woman is, I think presumably Chrissy is swimming across the top of the water. It captivated me as a kid, and it scared me too, so
it's an amazing image.
She's quite clearly naked in the poster as well, I think, or at least you can see the outline.
Another reason why it's one of the greatest.
I remember being 13 and seeing that poster going, yeah, I got to see that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And watching the opening scene, you would, can I see more? Can I see more?
But of course more of
this. All right. Well, points for everybody. Y'all did great. Good job. All right. We've dipped our toes in the shallows. Now it's time to swim with the shark. This is the main round where the chum hits the fan and the questions get bigger than a 25-footer with lifeless, dull eyes. Guys, are we ready to dive in?
Do it.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Let's do it. As we know, this film is a cinematic masterpiece and would struggle without certain elements or people involved that helped push it forward into what we know today. So be honest. Take away Verna Fields and John Williams, and Jaws doesn't hit. Prove it or push back. D, I'll let you go first.
This is an easy one for me. It absolutely still hits. Does it become a blockbuster? Maybe not. There's no question that Verna Fields took some crazy stuff and put it together in an amazing way. I mean, we wouldn't have the Ben Gardner boat scene if not for her swimming pool. And John Williams, I mean, to be fair, he had a 2-note composition for this soundtrack, and it just happened to be perfect. But if we're going to say, are we going to have a movie with no editing and no composer, no soundtrack? Will that make it? No, of course not. But there were plenty of skilled editors, plenty of skilled composers. And to say that just because of those two, it wouldn't have hit at all takes away from all of the acting chops of Shaw and Dreyfuss and Scheider. And you just can't take that away. You just have Shaw's Indianapolis speech alone, and you have a great movie. Whatever else happens, you've got a great movie from that. And we are talking about one of the greatest, if not the greatest directors of all time. And this is one of his masterpieces. I was watching it earlier, and how do you make a movie good where somebody's flipping through a book, looking at pictures, and somehow he does it? I just don't, that's amazing. Like, you're giving me little brief moments of somebody looking at pictures in a book, and it's terrifying me. That is some skill. So no, it wouldn't have been as big, but it definitely would have still been an incredible movie.
Good point. Jeff?
I got to push back because it definitely hits. With respect to the editing that Verna did, it's still a straightforward story at its core. Man goes in the cage goes in the water, shark's in the water, our shark. it's still going to work. Williams' score is a character, and without it, the film loses tension. But ultimately, it's Spielberg's direction of a perfectly cast group of actors and the all too real, terrifying look of Bruce coming out of the water that does it for me. So yeah, this hits.
Good point. Matt?
I have to agree with what both of you said. I think at its core, it's a pretty interesting story, pretty exciting story, and a lot of suspense. I think a lot of the conflict with the town and the idea of pushing people, because of business, and it's the biggest weekend of the summer. This is stuff that I lived through going up to the Cape every year. I mean, people would flood in there. Everybody's got to get on the beach, and up there, the beaches could be quite small. People are packed in there. That really hits home all of that from the story. I think it still would have hit. I think another composer might have come through with something else that's also kind of ominous and matched. It might not have been that, what is it, EF, or, that dum-dum.
Hey, very good, Matt. I'm impressed.
Yeah, well, I got it off the website.
Point
But
for
I mean,
Matt.
there.
Point for Matt.
Yeah, for a second there, Matt did something with music, because typically I'm like, Chuck, take it away.
I'm stunned. Who are you?
But I think it would have hit. I do think it's a solid story. And Spielberg, I mean, even as young as he was, what was he, like 27 or something? That's insane. How good it came out, how tough the filming was, how tough the situation was, and how kind of they were filming it on Martha's Vineyard, and people were kind of fed up with the filming, and they weren't really being very helpful. So yeah, I think it would have still hit.
He was already a great filmmaker, but this made him the master of filmmaking and made him who he is today. If he didn't have this experience, I don't think we would have got the Spielberg that we got today. All right, Chuck, your turn.
If people didn't know who Spielberg was before, if they didn't see Duel, or if they hadn't seen the Sugarland Express, Jaws put him on the map. Verna Fields, she won an Oscar for editing this. She was great at minimizing the shark while it was on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt's already covered John Williams. You stole some of my thunder for once on a musical question. But I think the heart of this is really, does this film flop without him? And I really don't think it does. Spielberg is part of that brat pack, and he's friends with Lucas. And so he's probably calling up George. George is somewhere filming a little movie called Star Wars. But he says, hey, look, Marsha's available right now. Let Marsha cut Jaws for you. And the film comes out differently. It has a much more emotional punch to it. And you know exactly who I am going to tap to come to the podium instead of Williams if he's not available. I mean, he's fresh off of Chinatown, The Wind and the Lion and Papillon. I'm going straight to Jerry Goldsmith. We don't get da-dum, but we're going to get a great score. We still get a good film. Do we get the epic masterpiece? Maybe not, because filmmaking is a collaborative process, but maybe we just don't get as many sequels from this film, which actually works out really great for Michael Caine, who gets to accept his Academy Award for Hannah and his sisters instead of filming Jaws 4.
Ooh, just had to bring that one up, didn't you?
His mother's beach house begs to differ.
That's right.
All right, Jason, it's all yours.
Okay, listen, I'm going to push back on all of you guys for just a second, okay? I think you'd be foolish to say that Spielberg doesn't make this a hit, at least in some way. You look at his body of work. I mean, you got Raiders, you got E.T., you've got Jurassic Park, you've got all these massive summer popcorn movies that have been hugely successful. So you can't really say, no, it wouldn't have been a hit. But he did have John Williams' help on all of those movies. I would argue that John Williams' iconic music for this movie is even more iconic than the movie. So while I agree with all of you, it still would have hit in some degree. I think tons of credit needs to go to John Williams. I don't think you guys would disagree with me on this, but the donum, that's more iconic than the movie. And Verna Fields, yes, she had significant contributions to the pacing, suspense, the Ben Garner scene, the milk in the pool, all that stuff. So would it have been a hit? Probably. Maybe you get Jaws 3 instead of Jaws.
Whoa. That's too far.
Ouch. Ouch.
Go with you on Jaws 2, not
Wait a
Jaws
minute.
3.
Yeah.
We all saw Ready Player One under Spielberg and Crystal Skull. So Spielberg can make a stinker.
Uh,
I was going to say one thing was her editing inadvertently by trying to hide the shark was actually, in my opinion, sort of genius as it turns out, because you're dealing with something in a different medium. I think it actually makes the whole movie. If Bruce had been a better shark and they showed it more, it would have been a worse movie.
Agreed.
And we haven't learned anything in 50 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these points are meaningless, but I will give points to Jason and Matt. Casting a film is vital and can easily make or break a film. You've been hired to recast Jaws from scratch. Nobody from the original cast stays. Who plays whom and why? Cast as little or as much as you like here, guys. This can even be a modern day casting. Okay. Jeff, you're first.
I've got a modern cast and I've got a 1975 cast. Which would you like?
Modern.
Yeah, I'm interested in modern.
yeah, me too.
God help us if they ever chose to remake a masterpiece like this. But if we're going to do it, you got to go to the guy that breathes new life into franchises, because he did it with Top Gun. He did it with Twister. In November, he's going to do it with The Running Man. I'm calling Glenn Powell to play Chief Brody. I've got one of my favorite character actors, Lakeith Stansfield, playing Hooper. And for that grisly, attitude-filled Quint, give me Mel Gibson.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, that sold it.
That's a good
I'm
one.
buying my ticket, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sold. No, good call, Jeff. I like that one a lot. All right, Matt, what about you?
Gosh, I am terrible on this because I can never remember actors' names, and we'll just end up into a game of, that guy that played that thing, him, and he was with that girl. No, I am terrible about naming that. And I the only one I thought about was, I thought that Chief Brody could be played by oh, exactly. I'm going to do exactly what I said, which is that guy, he played in that movie. I don't know. I'm terrible with actors' names, so let's just skip me on this.
Okay. Matt loses
points.
Point.
Points for being honest.
Yes, sir. All right, Chuck, what about you?
Just to keep it fair, I'm going to restrict my actors to actors whom we've covered on Cinematic Flashback. So Martin Brody, I'm going straight for a little bit different. And I'm going with Gene Hackman. I think he had the chops for this role. For Hooper, shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. I love him. Donald Sutherland. I think he would be somewhere between like a Hawkeye Pierce and maybe a John Baxter. Quint, all right, I'm going to reach for the stars here. I'm going to probably break my bank and my whole budget for everything, but I'm going for Sean Connery. Hot off of John Borman's epic masterpiece, Zardoz. And he is totally ready to trade in his red loincloth for some fisherman garb. Ellen Brody, I was so impressed with Sally Kellerman from MASH, who played Hot Lips O'Houlihan. She was so good. My other actress that I was going to cast in this film would have been Julie Christie, but I've never heard her in a role yet where she doesn't have an English accent. But I'm going with Sally Kellerman. And then finally for Larry Vaughn, I think the oiliest, greasiest guy we've had in a film so far was in Black Sunday, and it was actor Bruce Dern. And I think he would play Larry Vaughn and have that weird bureaucratic vibe about him. So that's my cast.
Great choices.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. If you really need Julie Christie, let her be Chrissy Watkins, because I don't care what accent you have. A scream is a scream.
This is true. This is true. All right, Jason, what about you?
All right. So I recast it in 1975. And what I did is I took the list of actors that make up Jaws. I looked at their birth year, and then I went to the birth year trying to choose an actor of the same birth year. Okay. Trying to get the same kind of season mixture that we got in the original Jaws. So Roy Scheider was born in 1932. And so I looked up actors born in 1932, 1933. I gave myself a little bit of grace there. And because he's representing the audience, it needs to be kind of an everyman, but he also needs to be a cop too. So I went with Tom Skerritt.
Mm.
He was
Great
born the same
choice.
time. Thank you. He's played a cop, but he's a reasonable guy. He seems like a normal dude who's tackling a major problem in a small town. So Tom Skerritt was my choice for Brody. For Quint, this is 1927. That's the year that Robert Shaw was born. I'm getting George C. Scott as Quint. He's grizzled. He's tough. You know, if he wants to grow the ponytail, that's fine. He's intimidating. He's a big personality. He's Quint for me. Okay. Now, Hooper, 1947. I'm kind of doing the Brian Johnson, punch myself in the shoulder on this one. Because of the Jaws Jurassic Park thing that we did this week, I'm grabbing Sam Neill as a young actor as Hooper. Okay. Australian actor Hooper. I don't care if he speaks with an Australian accent. They got sharks down there too. Sam Neill as a young guy. And then for Ellen Brody, I'm getting Suzanne Plachette from the Newhart show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it's Newhart or Bob Newhart show. Anyway, she's the mom. She's, also a cop's wife. She's a little bit grizzled, a little tough. So I like her. Now then, for the mayor, I'm going with Ted Knight, who you may know from Caddyshack. Very likable guy, kind of got that polished outside, but he's got a major problem, and I like Ted Knight in that role. And then another punch to myself in the shoulder. For Chrissy, 1946, I'm grabbing Suzanne Summers. Everybody wanted to see her naked and swimming in the ocean, so Suzanne Summers for me.
High five.
Points for Jason on that one. All right, D, it's up to you, buddy.
I agree with you guys that Brody can't be a handsome guy. My initial thought was Chris Pine, because he also has the ability to revive some franchises, Star Trek. And he also can play tough and identifiable. But I think that Brody's got to be more identifiable than that. So I decided to cast him a little bit older, and I picked Bryan Cranston to play Brody. He's not ugly, but he's not just, a pretty boy either. And so to me, even though he's a little older, he seems like the right pick for that part. I had a younger Hooper. I put Dev Patel from Slumdog Millionaire. Seems like he's got the, the smart scientific mind, but also kind of the more edgy hipster vibe to go with Hooper's style. This one, I think Jason will applaud. For Quint, it's got to be Russell Crowe.
Oh,
Ooh, wow.
So those were my choices. And then because I picked Bryan Cranston, I thought, well, Ellen's got to be a little bit older. And so I thought Salma Hayek, but then you guys just said what you said. And I'm like, oh no, she's got to be Chrissy. That's where she's going to get cast. So I don't know, maybe Jennifer Aniston or something. I forget Ellen. She can maybe not be in the movie, just as long as we got Salma Hayek throwing her sweater off and yelling her name as she dives in the water. What else do you need?
We're all for that. Yeah.
Yes, we're all behind you on that one, D. Good choice. Good choices, guys. All right, let's move on. The trio in this film hits hard, and without them, we would probably be lost at sea. But surely one of them isn't who we think they are. So who is the weak link on the Orca, and why? Make your case. Matt?
Well, Chief Brody is clearly the weak link. He doesn't like the water. He gets seasick, and they make him do the work of chumming the water. The only thing he does is shoot a rifle at an air tank, and that's it. I mean, other than that, he goes to talk on the radio, and Quint rips the speaker out. I mean, he's sort of a non-entity. He's the everyman. He's us on the boat, right? But if you want to talk about weak links, I think he was the weak link, clearly. I don't think he should not be on there, but I think he's definitely the weak link.
Your logic is sound. Chuck?
This is an interesting question because the script is really tight here. To what Matt said, Brody did shoot a rifle at a tank, but he also kills the shark. Hooper, he's smart, but the shark is not impressed with his cage or his fancy boats or any of his degrees. But he does bring the scuba tank, and he foreshadows how Brody needs to kill the shark. Quint, the shark is his obsession. He has the experience. He's got the boat. He's got the harpoon gun and the barrels. So I'm going to say Hooper is the weak link.
Also sound logic. All right, Jason?
I'm going Brody. I think it's the clear-cut case for the same reasons that Matt mentioned. He manages to get off a wonderfully lucky shot at the very end, which Quint had done all the heavy work, essentially getting them out there, getting the boat around, getting the barrels in the shark, with all the fisherman knowledge that he had. Plus, Hooper knows, hey, listen, this thing swims and it eats and makes baby sharks, and that's it, right? He's got all the knowledge, and Hooper manages to escape. Brody represents the audience. I think he's intended to be the weak link because that's us. And so for me, it's Brody.
Good choice. D?
Okay. So I had the knee-jerk reaction when I saw this question as well, to think of the guy who doesn't like the water and the guy who's got city hands. And I almost disregarded Quint because, obviously he's the guy who knows the most. He's got the boat. He's got the experience. He's got the leadership. But then I watched them on the boat and I watched some critical scenes, and there's ability and there's overconfidence in one's ability. And Quint, with all of his ability, is still the one who smashes the radio. He is the one who doesn't tell the Coast Guard where they are. He is the one who drives the ship so hard that it burns out the engine. He's General Custer. He is freaking doing everything to sabotage the mission. So at first blush, it looks like he should be the strongest link in the chain. But because of his bravado, his overconfidence, and his reckless behavior, he is absolutely the weakest link. He is the reason that everything goes wrong.
D, I thought that no one here is going to pick Quint, but you make some intelligent conversation here about that. So point for D. But let's hear from Jeff.
Well,
Jeff's going Quint.
yeah, no. I'm with Chuck here. It is Hooper, because unlike Brody and Quint, he has no weapons or combat training. He's not a man of action. His physicality is untested. And ultimately, his intelligence and real expensive gear did nothing to kill the shark. If, however, we're basing strength on steering the boat, playing solitaire, or hiding in the reef while the shark destroys the boat, then Hooper would be the winner. So Hooper is the weak link on this boat.
I disagree, but we'll move on.
You got city hands, Mr. Burns.
I think the boat was the weak link. That boat was a piece of shit.
It was. I think we'd all agree with that.
Pippin was the weak link here.
Yep. All right. We all have relatives out there that we probably like, or in probably most cases do not like. The mayor of Amity is your uncle. You've been called to the town council to defend him. What do you say? Chuck?
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, I have come to speak on behalf of Mayor Vaughn, or as I call him, Uncle Larry. He saw his neighbors panicking, not about the sharks, but about rent, about keeping the businesses alive. He made a call. He put faith in the experts, in the captured shark, in the hope that the worst was over. And yeah, he made a decision. It was wrong. It was a bad call, ladies and gentlemen of the council. It was a bad call. But it wasn't made in malice. It was made under pressure with the weight of the entire town on his shoulders. So before you throw him to the sharks, ask yourself, what call would you have made?
Point for
Bad
Chuck
call.
for the performance.
A bad call. People are dead, Bert.
I can't get anything by on you guys.
No, I heard Burke immediately, man.
Good performance. Good performance. I know we're going to hear from Jason here. So let's hear it, Jason.
All right. So listen, this is an unusual problem that Mayor Vaughn has no experience at. What does he know? He knows boating accidents. He doesn't know great white attacks. He didn't know, and he didn't understand, and he didn't believe that there was actually a shark in these waters. He didn't act fast enough. Maybe it was a bad call, Your Honor, but he was inexperienced and doing the best he can with the knowledge he had at the time, thinking it was a boating accident. Now, defending my uncle, let's look at what he did do. He did fund Quint to go capture and kill this beast once the Kittner kid was killed. He also closed the beaches. He also put shark spotters and extra deputies around, and he brought in Hooper. This man acted decisively to combat a problem that he had almost no experience with. And he also, like it or not, has an economic responsibility to a small island town that he has to watch out for businesses and people on the biggest weekend of the year. So I think that he did the best he could with the knowledge he had.
Well said. Well said. All right, D, let's see if you agree or not.
Friends, islanders, seamen, lend me your ears. I come not to defend my uncle, but to praise him. It is outlandish that he should be the scapegoat in this miscarriage of justice. He is a man who, not for his own good, but for the good of his constituents, made a call based upon reason, logic, and statistics. Do you know what the chances are that you will be attacked by a shark? They're virtually non-existent. And yet, had we put that scare out into this town, the entire town, every business owner in this community would have suffered so gratuitously that they might well have lost their homes and their families. He chose to protect his constituent based on what is mathematically, statistically, an almost certainty. The fact that this act of God occurred is not his fault. It's not his responsibility. He should be praised for looking out for the people of Amity and the businesses and the families that depend upon them.
Give him the Oscar now.
Atticus Graves right there.
Well, you knew the lawyer was going to do good on this, right?
Of course. All right, Jeff, let's see if you can top that.
Members of the council, Mayor Vaughn is my uncle. And for me to speak from the heart wouldn't make any sense because it'll be biased. So I'm not going to speak from the heart. I'm going to speak about facts. Let's talk about New Smyrna Beach. It's a Florida city south of Daytona Beach. It's a surf hub known for its beaches, including nearby Canaveral National Seashore. The coastal Smyrna Dunes Park has views of Ponce Inlet and its lighthouse. Downtown's palm-lined Canal Street Historic District has art galleries, incredible restaurants, shops, and the New Smyrna Museum of History. And you'll even find the Mary S. Harrell Black Heritage Museum displaying memorabilia inside a church built in 1899. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Well, let me tell you one more fact about New Smyrna Beach. It's known as the shark bite capital of the world. It has more reported shark attacks than any other beach in the United States. And while Florida overall experiences a high number of shark attacks, New Smyrna Beach in Volusia County stands out with a disproportionately high number of incidents. Folks, it's all psychological. Unlike us, the people in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, have a real shark problem. But they don't have a tourist problem because they're focusing on what makes their city a preferred vacation destination. So I suggest we stop yelling shark and do what our friends down south are doing and yell barracuda. Vote Vaughn.
You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Well done, Jeff. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, Matt.
Take it easy. I'm in pre-law, man. Thought you're pre-med. What's the difference?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be brief. The issue here is not whether my uncle broke a few rules or allowed a shark to take a few liberties with our summer guests. He did. But you can't hold him responsible for the behavior of a few sick, twisted sharks. For if you do, then shouldn't we blame the whole summer vacation system?
Nice work, Matt.
Nice.
Very good. Points for everybody. Fantastic performances for this round. All right. We all love and adore Jim Henson. He has given us some amazing products over the years, so why not add another one to his film list? Recast Jaws with Muppets in every role, except one human actor who stays. Who is it and why? Jason, you are leading us off.
All right. Well, What I'd really like is for Bruce the Shark to remain the one cast member munching Muppets. But since I have to keep one human being, I'm going to keep Susan Backlany as Chrissy. She's the one who sets the tone for the entire movie. She also sets the stakes, and her screams at the beginning of this movie get us going down our path in the story. And I just don't think that's something that Muppet could pull off effectively. So I'm going with Susan Backlany.
Any Muppets? Just for everybody else? Any specific Muppets?
I was supposed to cast Muppets?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll put Kermit as Brody. I'll put Beaker as Hooper. And I'll put one of the old men in the upper deck. I can't remember their names.
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
I'll take Statler as Quint. There you go.
Okay. Fair enough. D, what about you?
So I have to keep Quint as the human being in the show. You can't take him out of this picture. I think anybody else is replaceable except him. But in casting the parts, I also would cast Kermit as Brody. That seems the most appropriate. Miss Piggy as Ellen. Obviously.
Your father, get on the phone. Get on the phone right now.
And Jason stole my thunder a little bit because I would actually make Hooper both Dr. Bunsen and Beaker, and they would force Beaker to go into the shark cage, like stuffing his little head down in there. And then for Mayor Vaughn, I would cast Fozzie Bear, who would be making inappropriate jokes as he defended himself.
We're not going to do the conga anymore. We're going to do the cha-cha-cha-cha chum line.
Perfect. Love it, D. Jeff?
My movie would definitely start with Janice, the lead guitarist from the Electric Mayhem, in the role of Chrissy Watkins. Because you need a looker, right?
Naked.
Yeah, but if I'm keeping one human, it's got to be Murray Hamilton as Mayor Vaughn. I like the idea of him arguing about closing the beaches, like Kermit just, if we act now, we can probably save August, just, and I could see him tearfully looking at Kermit at the hospital, Kermit, my kids were on that beach too, so Kermit as Brody, I think is definitely the right answer. I'm going to go Gonzo as Hooper, and then give me the Swedish Chef as Quint, because, when Quint's getting drunk and not making much sense, that just seems to me be a good match.
Awesome. Good choices. Kermit's winning out here for the one role. All right, Matt, what do you got?
I agree on most of those, except for I was going to cast either Bert or Ernie as the sheriff and the other Bert or Ernie as the husband of the sheriff. I just thought those two would be a good pair, a good couple playing the husband and wife role, although both husbands. So, and then I did think that the opening scene should be Miss Piggy. I cannot get it out of my head. Her running into the water, throwing off clothes, and then a little pig swimming through the water and the shark eating the pig. I mean, it hits. Miss Piggy's got to go.
Poor Miss Piggy.
Matt, do you think she would have done the karate chop to the shark?
It would have definitely been part of it.
I'm just imagining the guy running behind her going, "What's your name?" Piggy.
I'm going swimming.
Yeah, good picks. All right. Chuck, what about you?
In my story, Kermit is telling the story of Jaws to Robin, think Princess Bride, right? I'm keeping Roy Scheider. I was also going to cast Janice in the role of Chrissy, Miss Piggy as Ellen Brody. The Brody kids are going to be Rizzo the Rat and Yolanda. For Hooper, I've been torn between Gonzo the Great or Fozzie Bear. I couldn't make a decision on that, but what I could decide on, and it was the first casting, is I brought Sam the Eagle as Quint.
There you go.
Oh, good one.
At the end of the Indianapolis speech, he adds,
And that is why I never swim with socialist.
Bruce the Shark is played by Animal in a shark outfit. The mayor is going to be the Swedish chef. And to round it off, I did cast Statler and Waldorf. And these are the two old guys who are on the dock trying to catch the shark with the holiday roast.
Charlie and his holiday roast.
That is my casting.
Brilliant. Points for everybody that round. Everybody did great choices. Great choices.
I'd love to see Sam the Eagle at the town meeting say, "You are all weirdos."
I can't believe nobody chose Scooter for Hooper. I mean, they wear the same glasses.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
that would have been.
point. I didn't think about that. That's a good one. Yeah, it would be quite interesting. That's for sure. All right, on to our next question. There is nothing like a good courtroom drama that can keep one on the edge of their seat. Turn Jaws into a courtroom drama. Who's on trial? And what are they being charged with? D, start us off.
Oh, sure. Start with the lawyer.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I'm afraid my legal brain went overboard on this one because the knee-jerk reaction on this is like, well, you're going to sue the mayor or you're going to sue Amity because he's the mayor of Amity. And as a lawyer, I know they don't have any money. They put caps on what municipalities have to pay out. You got to go for somebody with some deep pockets. And who in this movie has deep pockets? The answer is nobody. Nobody in this movie. I mean, the townspeople are going to be out of business if they don't have everybody there for 2 days. Nobody in the town can be held liable. So I had to really think hard about this. And I think the only clear answer is the Intex rubber raft company who invented the raft and manufactured the raft that little Alex Kittner was on, because they knew that statistically shark attacks are possible with people on rafts. And not only that, that people on rafts are more likely to look like a shark to be a seal. And they put no warning on. They didn't give any sort of notice to anybody who might be selling or renting these rafts for the water. I mean, here is a major national manufacturer of items who let this go by without any research at all. They are obviously the one who's culpable in this, and they're the one who has any money to pay to poor Ms. Kittner. So there's my answer. That's who's going to get sued in this deal.
Not to mention the permeated smell in the rubber that smells just like blood. We know they're doing that.
And it's
so they
bright
can sell
yellow.
more.
I mean, what else is going to draw the shark's attention?
Exactly. They want to sell more Intex, so they clearly want them to be bitten by sharks.
Good luck, everybody else in this round, because that
Yeah,
was
right.
a great answer.
I got nothing.
I don't think I can touch that.
Oh,
Did
that's
you
the
purchase
best.
an Intex round in 1975? You may be entitled to compensation.
Call 888.
All right, Jeff. Jeff, let's see what you got.
Well, I think what we've got here could be the grounds for a great Netflix documentary, because I'm looking at The Murder of Chrissy Watkins by Tom Cassidy, the young man involved with her and the last person to see her alive. You know, the evidence is going to tell us what it's going to tell us, but he and his college buddies, they came down from Hartford. They rented a house for $1,000. They picked this young woman up at the ferry. He did not remember her name. He's pushing the theory that she drowned, and he's claiming innocence because, hey, I reported it, didn't I? So was it a boating accident? Was it a shark? Or was it a murder? We'll never know what happened on that beach, but the evidence, I think, could tell us. Tom Cassidy on trial.
Interesting angle. I like it.
I like that angle a lot.
Yeah, great angle.
I'm not the one giving points, but I'm giving points to you, Jeff.
Yes, I have to agree. Good one, Jeff.
Plus, he was high and intoxicated. I mean, that's just sheer irresponsible.
Your Honor, he did.
Couldn't even take his clothes off.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody could top D, but Jeff, well done. Great answer. Great answer. All right, Matt, your turn.
I believe that the case is against the Procter and Gamble company, as they profited by the horrible, horrible situation of finding Chrissy's head and shoulders on the beach.
Oh, out.
Nice.
All right, Chuck.
I'm going to have to take a mulligan on this one. I was going to go the angle of Mrs. Kintner suing the town of Amity, but Dee completely took apart my whole point on this because there's no money to be gotten from it other than the satisfaction that she was right or whatever.
I think you got to join the class action suit against.
I think, yeah, Mrs. Kittner is definitely joining that class action suit.
So you could go around smacking people,
Yeah.
It could be part of that suit. So, hey. All right, Jason, what do you got?
Well, I just have a few misdemeanors that I'm handing out because I mean, you got Mrs. Kittner for negligence for swimming after pruning. You got Hooper for attempted beard. You've got Ellen Brody for fooling around under the influence. And then, of course, Mayor Vaughn should at least get a ticket for that hideous suit with the anchors on it. So just a few minor infractions.
That's
that
a
I've got
crime
problems
against
with.
fashion.
It is. Jack, it's awesome, man. I'm wearing one to Chili Fest.
Oh,
All right, Jeff, I need to see you in that. So let's get it happening. So good choices, guys. I love it. All right, let's go on to the next one. I am singing in the rain and enjoying those wonderful music pieces of characters dancing and singing across my screen. Jaws is now a full-blown musical. Where's the opening number and what's it called? We will start with Jeff.
Jaws on Broadway has to establish the town and the characters immediately with their opening number. My opening number is called The Summer Ginks Are Coming. Welcome to Amity.
That's a deep cut, Jeff.
All right. I like it.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Good one. Matt?
A shark is a shark. I don't know. I'm terrible with musicals. The only one that comes into my head is West Side Story. So I would have said Amityville Story. And it would have been something with clicking fingers or something. And definitely bringing in the townspeople, and then the summer's coming and everybody's real busy. So I don't know. I'm terrible with musicals. So
All right. Chuck?
that's it. Zero for me.
0 points. Chuck?
I love Disney musicals. I'm thinking kind of like Beauty and the Beast, kind of the opening, of that. And so we're going to show the movie, and it's going to start off it's going to hit hard. It's still going to have the death of Chrissy Watkins, but then it switches over to Chief Brody waking up in the morning, getting his coffee, taking the Chevy Blazer into town where the little town, such a quiet village, starts to play.
Little town.
And the opening title, the opening song, is taken from a line that Mayor Vaughn speaks later on. The name of the song is Amity Means Friendship.
Nice.
Amity means friendship. Amity means fun. So grab your towel, take a dip, and bake beneath the sun. We've got charm, we've got chowder, we've got local flair. If you hear someone screaming, it's probably just a fair.
That's
Good
amazing.
one.
Yeah, very good.
Great.
Oh man.
That is
I
great.
spent all my
points.
time. I spent all my time on that one.
That's a good one. 5 points for Chuck because that was fantastic. All right, Jason.
All right. So in my musical, we're opening as tourist season is heating up on this beautiful island town of Amity. And my opening number is called People Are Having a Wonderful Time.
Yes.
And here are a couple lyrics for you. All right. Amity's got no worries, no troubles in our sea. The 4th of July will light up the sky. It's where you want to be. Oh, Amity's got no worries. Our paradise is grand. With sun and fun for everyone, it's heaven in the sand.
That's beautiful.
That's great. Good job, Jason.
Thank you.
You're welcome. D?
Okay. So imagine the camera, just like in the movie, is panning through the ocean, but instead of being through the seaweed, this is a way back take on what appear to be mountains in the ocean. And as the camera comes in, the orchestra swells, and we see Bruce spinning around with his arms open, singing, "The sea is alive with the smell of man blood."
You're
There
on
you
fire today, man.
Just came up with that on the moment. It's the best I could do.
He's pitching hard.
He is. Wow. Very impressive, D. Well done. Points for everybody. You all did good. All right. I'd like to teach the world to sing. Peace out. Gas, grass, or ass. Nobody rides for free are some famous slogans. It's July 4th, 1976, 1 year later. What's Amity's new tourism slogan? Matt, start us off.
Amityville, a great place to shop.
All right. Chuck?
Come on back to Amity 1976. No fins, just fireworks. Celebrate the bicentennial here.
All right. Jason?
Here's what I've got. Amity. Sharks in the water, you're in the water. No, it's not. Not I scratched that one out. Mine is Amity Beach. Experience your endless summer.
Very nice. D?
Come try the restaurants at Amity. It's a feeding frenzy. You'll eat so much you'll explode.
Drop in for a bite.
Oh, Jeff?
If Jaws 2 taught us anything, it's that the younger generation is not afraid to get back in the water. I think Amity a year later embraces the spring break vibe, and the slogan, thanks to Ellen, is "Want to get drunk and fool around? Amity."
Nice.
You could have gone with "Smile, you awesome beach."
It's a good one.
All right, let's move on. I am getting too old for this shit. Reimagine Jaws as an 80s buddy action movie. What's the title? And give us some cheesy one-liners. Chuck, start us off.
Just aside from the best one-liner in the movie, "Smile, you son of a..." I'm going to go with some stuff here. So starting off with Quint, because I served in the war, Brody. This ain't just a shark. It's unfinished business. So Brody has changed his smile line to, "I'm sending you to SeaWorld." In pieces. And then Hooper is going to be a little slimier. "I've been in deeper waters, Brody, and some of them were named Ellen."
Oh, there you
go.
I had to make a book reference. I mean, I read it.
The book there.
Yeah. Nice. Good ones. Jason?
Okay, I've got a few here. I've got nobody eats a kid on my watch. I've got take a bite of this, you prehistoric nightmare. And I've got take that, you Alex Kittner munching monster. And then finally, I've got this is for the Indianapolis.
Did you pull a line that was cut out of Rambo for that?
No.
The mouse munching.
I may have been influenced by Rambo on that. No.
Right.
First Blood.
First Blood. Yep. D?
Okay, so the name of my movie would be Sharkbusters. No relation to the other movie of Buster's name in that time period. I also have Brody cocking a gun, but he says this fish just bit off more than it can chew. Think Quint at some point when he's shooting his harpoon gun at the shark, he says, "Smile, you son of a fish, I'm your dentist." And then Hooper at some point as he's attaching the barrels says, "It's time to send this jawsome jerk back to the shallow end."
Nice. Jeff?
I think there's a whole nother movie that's happening while these guys are out to sea. So this summer, Jeffrey Kramer stars in Hendrix, Amity Cop, Part 2.
Yes.
And
yes.
I could see him giving a line, Brody's gone fishing. If you're looking for the law, you're looking for me, Hendrix. And if you need me to write it down, I will, because I don't need Polly to do my printing.
Nice.
Good one, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, Matt?
I had just a couple of ideas. One kept popping in my head that it was a buddy film with the shark and Quint going off into the sunset together. after wreaking havoc, and no one knows what happens. And then there's a series of sequels where they ravage all up and down the East Coast. And then there was another one that popped in my head where you guys were talking, which was along the lines of bad fish. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad fish,
Nice.
bad fish.
Well, I wanted to join the fun on this one. So my title is Lethal Waves.
Nice.
Two one-liners I've got is "You're skating on thin ice, pal," and "Never trust a shark. They eventually spill their guts."
Oh, yeah. Points to the moderator.
Yes, yes.
Very good.
All right, moving on. I'm the dude, so that's what you call me. That or his dudeness or duder or El Duderino, if you're not in the whole brevity thing. We all love those monologues that our most beloved characters have. To say so, in this instance, the shark had a monologue, but it was cut for time. What did it say? Jason, lead us off.
I went a little more serious on this. So, this is the monologue from the shark. How dare they swim in my waters? These creatures dare to combat me. My kind has been swimming in these waters for ages. They swim but have no gills. They hunt and they eat my brethren. I will have my vengeance. I will turn the sea red with their blood. With my fins, I will tear down their attempts to capture me. With my body, I will sink their boats. With my jaws, I will eat their leaders. I am death, and I am here to stay.
Mm.
Can Jason just take the W on this one, because he started off his answer by saying, "I'm going to be serious with this one, but we're talking about a talking shark."
Talking shark.
That was a good one. D,
Great,
can you
great.
top that?
Okay. See if you guys can go with me on this one. Oh, Chief Brody, do you think you can dissect me with your blunt little gun? You know what you look like, Hooper, with your beanie hat and your horn-rimmed glasses. You look like a rube with a weak stomach. You know, Ben Gardner tried to dissect me once, and I ate his head with a blood red Chianti and some sea beans.
So good.
Oh, that was a good one, D. Well done. All right. Jeff, they're getting better and better. Can you top it?
Well, I would think his monologue probably got cut because Carl Gottlieb maybe was watching The Godfather a little too much when he wrote this movie. And I definitely think Bruce the Shark would have been voiced by Marlon Brando. So I've got, Brody, I understand. You found paradise in Amity. You and the mayor make a good living off the summer ginks until one or two end up on the food chain. Now you come into my waters talking about vengeance. But will vengeance bring back that Kintner boy? You come asking me to leave, but you don't ask me with respect. You don't offer me friendship. You don't even think to call me Great White.
My cheeks are hurting, guys. My gosh.
No, these are great. Well done. Oh, all right, Matt. They're getting better and better.
That's a pretty high bar.
It is.
As the shark. Hungry. Hungry. So hungry. I feel food in the water. They splash, calling me, enticing me to eat. Finny.
And scene.
And
Very good.
Yes, great job. Great job. Chuck?
Okay, I kind of went more serious a little bit too, but I'm thinking more of a Travis Bickle diary monologue here. July 4th. Thank the current for the silence. It clears the churn, settles the blood. I patrol from dusk till dawn, always have. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 6. Depends on how sloppy they are. They splash, they scream. They don't understand what water is. To me, it's home. To them, it's a mirror until it breaks.
I love that
Well done.
everybody's giving the passion and changing their voices into the character. That's fantastic. So great job. Great job. Points for everybody on that round. Well done. All right. Well, let's move on to our final question. And it is clearly probably the most important one to get a little bit serious. Does Jaws groove through the decades, or did it skip a beat? We'll start with you, D.
It grooves through the decades. If you say 1975 to me, there are two movies that pop out. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Jaws, and Jaws has been in the conversation more than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest can ever hope to be, even though it won the Best Picture. This set the stage for summer blockbusters. I mean, we were talking about it, ironically, last on our text thread, and Jason was like, guess what the best movie of June 1974 was? Like, biggest box office, it was Deep Throat. This changed the face of movies forever. It made the career of Steven Spielberg. It made the career of Richard Dreyfuss. It made the career of John Williams, all of who are absolute icons for the next 30 years. And as I watch it today, it still scares the crap out of me. Brilliant in every respect, 100%. It's better than any movie that's been made in the last 25 years.
Well said. Jeff?
This movie has been chumming the waters for 50 years. It absolutely has been grooving through the decades. I don't care if it's 1975 or 2075. People will be watching Jaws.
Yep.
Absolutely. Matt?
So as the only one here that actually saw it in the theater when it was released and recently seeing it again, I can tell you without a doubt, it grooved back then and it still grooves now. Absolutely. No doubt about it. So also, I want to mention I'm probably the only one here that actually has seen both of those other movies mentioned in the theater as well. It wasn't in 1975, but it was in a movie theater.
Okay, moving on.
3 barrels ain't going to keep Matt Sargent now.
Not with 3.
Chuck, what about you?
Obviously, this film definitely grooves through the decades, no doubt whatsoever, for the same reason that everybody here has said. One of the things about this film that I love is, again, the relationship between Spielberg and Lucas, the camaraderie of one upping the other in ticket sales, and then eventually going on to work together on Raiders of the Lost Ark. The film it's perfect. This film changed how movies are distributed. It's hard to believe that once upon a time, a movie would be initially released in limited distribution and it wouldn't get around to the whole United States maybe until 3 or 4 months later. So this film was the biggest release at the time in the US. And it changed how summer movies were made. Before that, summer wasn't a summer movie time, but, Jaws changed that. Every year from then on, we look forward to summer to see what movies are coming out that year. So it definitely grooves through the decades.
Absolutely.
Chuck, what you're saying about the summer blockbuster is, I actually remember in the summer, you just didn't go to the movies. There was nothing to go see. Nothing got released. You just did your summer thing. You went to the pool, you did whatever. After this, I distinctly remember you always got the previews in like January or in November or December, out in June, out in July, and you couldn't wait for the summer blockbuster to be released. I mean, it really was. I did live through that, and it was pretty amazing.
And now it's commonplace.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jaws. All right, Jason.
Yeah, I'm going with everybody else. I mean, it's a masterpiece. It grooves through the decades. It changed cinema history. It impacted guys like you and me and all of us. And maybe the most impactful movie of our lifetime, with the exception of maybe Star Wars. So anyway, yeah, absolutely. It's a masterpiece and grooves through decades, 100%.
I went on record on a film by when we talked about Jaws, claiming that this is the perfect film. And I will go on record here on this podcast to say this is indeed the perfect film. And it does indeed groove through the decades. All right. So the points are meaningless. Everybody wins. You guys gave me some laughs. Fantastic.
Just like Who's Line. All right.
Yes. Great answers tonight, guys. Thank you.
Dee and Jason, I want to thank you guys again for coming out and hanging out and having some fun with us. What do you have coming up on Shirley?
Well, Chuck, we just dropped our Rat versus Dokken matchup. We went back to the LA Sunset Strip to get some of hair metal's earliest pioneers from 1985. We covered those albums. We've got a What the Heck Happened episode with Jeff from A Film By, where we talk about Superman Returns versus Batman and Robin from 1997. And we asked the question, what the heck happened with these two movies? And then after that, we're going to dive into some more of your favorite 80s and 90s CDs.
Bat nipples and Superman stalkers. How did it happen?
Superman, the deadbeat dad.
Jeff and David, I also want to thank both of you for coming out. What's next for A Film By and Phasers?
Well, I'll tell you, tomorrow we actually have a bonus episode, the music of James Horner, our top 5 favorite scores. Dave and Wayne have something really special in store for us. And then when we get back to Monday for our regularly scheduled program, we'll be talking about one of Sam Raimi's greatest underrated films, The Gift.
And then with Phaser Set to Stun, we are continuing our diving into the season 3 of Strange New World.
I'm looking forward to hearing all of that. And thank you, listener, for joining us. Let us know about your experiences with Jaws. You can do that at cinematicflashback.com and leave us a voice message. Don't forget to subscribe, share the show with a friend, and check out our full archive at cinematicflashback.com. Join us next time as we take the Wayback Machine to the 70s to explore another film from that decade.
I saw Superman and I saw that the Hall of Justice thing you were talking about. That was pretty cool.
You got to be there in real life. It's awesome.
Cincinnati pride right there, buddy.
Wait a minute, that's a real place?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Did anybody in your theater say, meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, Aquaman makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because he can't do crap?
When they showed the scene with the Hall of Justice, the place erupted.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, I mean, it's just like cheers. Like, and that's just for us. Like that was kind of cool.